What's up, everybody? Aggro here. It's time for the SCL Fall Finals predictions video. Now, I know a lot of the audience is a little bit more PC-oriented, the SPL, but trust me, the SCL is in a really fun spot right now. There are a lot of really strong teams. The level of play has certainly risen, and this is a really tough one to call because I think that there's a couple ways that it could go, and I've had a lot of time to think about it. And I've been thinking about it a lot, and I'm still nervous about what I'm predicting. Now, the Super Regionals predictions went pretty well. Went 5 for 6 when the teams that are going, and look, everyone thought Dignitas was going to go. Okay, I don't even count that one in my mind. So hopefully we can kind of do the same thing here and get these predictions on point for you guys to get some FP at home. So the way that this LAN is going to work is that there's two groups. There's Group A and Group B. Every NA team is coming. That's 6 teams from North America and then 2 teams from Europe. They're split into 2 groups, and that's going to be a round-robin play. There's no bracket or anything like that. It's just every team from the groups plays each other, and then the 2 teams with the top 2 point totals go to Worlds. 4 total teams going to the World Championships for console. Now, these sets are 2 games, just like during the online. And just like during the online, you'll get an extra point for finding the 2-0 victory. So finding 2-0s is going to be absolutely critical here for all of these teams to really, I mean, that's the best way to boost your point total is to get a swift 2-0. Now, let's go over the groups first. Group A is Enix, Strictly Business, Elevate, and Obey Alliance. Now, Enix is coming out as the top seed in Europe. And the surprise here, if you haven't been paying attention a lot to the console scene, is that Rival, the team that has always been the only team from Europe who ever has a chance at playing and beating a good North American team at Worlds, isn't coming at all. Enix took the top seed. Kaz Esports ripped away that spot from Rival. So the question is Enix good enough to beat these NA teams at LAN? Now, Rival... And this is what's the most surprising, is that Rival gets their first win against an NA team ever in a set at DreamHack Valencia, the last LAN in summer. And then they come and they don't even qualify for the next one. So you know the region in Europe is getting better. I still don't know that Enix is going to not only earn a world spot, but find a lot of success here at LAN. I think that these European players have gotten a lot better, but they've gotten better against their own region. And the Rival guys had the advantage of playing against NA multiple times before finding a victory. This is going to be a lot of these players' first look at an NA team. How well can they adapt? Now, some of these players have come over before, played on other rosters, and basically gotten stomped by North American teams. I don't think that they're going to get stomped, but I do not think that a European team is going to qualify for HRX. But if a team is going to do it, it's going to be Enix. They looked great during the online split. And I hope I'm wrong, because it's always more fun whenever EU gets to get involved and have a lot of fun and be a strong team. But they've got a really rough group, man, because Strictly Business might be the best team right now. They are right behind Astral Authority at worst. AA coming off of 2 LAN victories in a row, so you can't really say, I can't say that any team is better than Astral Authority, but SB looks like a top team in the world right now. They've got a player in Matt Coys who has found more success than any console player. These guys, you know, except for DeWurst and Air Cougar, because they were on a team for a long time, and then they end up in Jelly as well. Those guys go on to win a world championship, but Matt Coys has had a ton of success on console. He knows how to win a LAN. He can teach the rest of the guys on SB. The big question mark around SB is how well Caden is going to play in the jungle. Caden had an abysmal performance at DreamHack Valencia underneath that SOAR tag, but he in the spring LAN looked great. So which Caden is SB going to get? If they get the great version of Caden, SB probably sweeps this group. I am going to predict that SB goes to Worlds, but Caden is the key to that team, as with all junglers, basically. Where the jungler goes, your team goes. It's pretty much simple. Elevate comes in next in this group. Elevate is a team that at first glance you want to count out because they didn't look good during the online split. They've got some players who were a little bit newer to the scene and haven't had a lot of success. But I've counted out Kenshin teams at LAN before, and I've been wrong. The old Aware Gaming squad showed up at last year's Fall Finals, killed it, and punched their ticket to Worlds. That being said, I do not think Elevate comes out of this group. I think they're a little bit too inexperienced still. I think that Cameron has not looked great as of late in the duo lane. He needs to step up his game if he wants to make it to Worlds. I think that Elevate is ultimately going to fall a little bit short. But if you're on Twitter, if you follow a lot of the console guys, you saw that Elevate's been scrimming a lot with Astro Authority, and by playing good teams, you get good. So maybe that was enough to push Elevate over the top. We'll have to wait and see. Obey Alliance rounds out this group, and I'm going to be completely transparent with all of you. I always have a little bit of bias towards this team because these are guys that I played against and was the team that always gave me the most trouble whenever I was playing. So, I look at Delta Marine in the mid lane, and I see the mid laner that gave me the most trouble when I was playing. They have not played to that level as of late, but this is a team that on LAN can do really, really good things. Mifflin in the jungle for them is an energy guy and loves to get loud on LAN. And this is something that I think that I might potentially make a video about in the future or maybe talk about on a podcast, something like that. But being loud at LAN, at least for me, was always less about getting in the head of my opponents and more amping up my own team. And I think I'm a firm believer that every team needs at least one guy who's going to be, if I make a play, I want my guy who's right next to me to be, yelling about how I'm sick and I'm insane and the other team's got no chance because I'm killing it. That is a huge confidence booster for a team. And Mifflin is the epitome of that guy. If he can get off to a roll, that is a momentum that Obey really need. I've got Obey coming out of this group underneath Strictly Business. Now, Group B is the other four teams. That's Astral Authority, that's Kaz Esports, Myth Gaming, and Soar Gaming. We'll start at the top again with Astral. Astral is the best team on console. They've got 5 superstars. Brochacho is a great leader. And again, being transparent, my old support, I got to experience the way he thinks about the game firsthand. I learned a lot from him. I'm a big believer in the way that he plays the game and in the way that he leads a team. And I don't think there's any way Astral do not make it to HRX. The player to keep an eye on is Covey. Covey had some struggles during DreamHack Valencia. It wasn't enough to not, to stop Astral Authority from winning at all. And I don't think that he was more of a hindrance than a help, but he does need to play a little bit better come HRX time, and I'm sure he'd be the first to tell you that. Kaz Esports, the second team coming out of Europe. Again, this is a team that has more experience against NA teams. Alexum in the mid lane has been to plenty of lands and lost plenty of times against North American teams. I just don't see that level of play out of Kaz that I do everyone else in North America. I don't think Kaz finds a lot of success here on LAN. Myth Gaming comes in next, and Myth is a team that has a lot of homegrown talent to the console scene. Crimson in the mid lane just kind of erupted onto the scene. His name's Erupt Crimson. That's like the joke. He's really, really good in that mid lane. Delny is really good in solo. Jumpa has turned it around in the jungle. He was not a high profile jungler in the past. He is becoming that now. Keegs in the duo lane, no questions will ever be had about Keegs' mates' play. Now, the things outside the game have always been the question mark circling, but at LAN, those things should be minimized, and you should be able to stay focused a little bit easier and be there present with your team and push them forward. Inbound is also an excellent support. I think Myth end up qualifying for Worlds out of this group. I think that's a team with a lot of talent, but a lot of unproven players at LAN. How well can they perform underneath the pressure? Everyone's here watching. that's the only way in my mind that Myth end up not qualifying, is if a player or two has a bad event because of the pressure from LAN. Otherwise, this is a very talented team. Soar Gaming's up next, and Soar's a team that went through a lot of changes, losing some players that kind of kept their identity together with Stormy and with Caden. How well can they bounce back from that? I think that's just too much of a loss to really compensate for. I do think that Shaliber has really grown during his time in the SCL. It was a guy who wasn't a particularly strong player when he first came into the league, but has really grown to become a strong mid laner. I've got a lot of respect for the way he plays the game now. Medieval, I think, is a really, really strong player who, as long as he can stay focused and stay serious about the game, has a ton of potential in that support role. I just think that the rest of the team has a few too many question marks to be able to make it to Worlds. So out of the groups, I think it's going to be Strictly Business and Obey in Group A, and I think it's going to be Astral Authority and Myth Gaming out of Group B. I want to keep this video short, so I don't think I'm going to go game by game and pick out winners. But I think that if you take into consideration what I've said about each team and where I think they're going to finish, I think that you can just kind of vote and be pretty close along those lines on where these teams are going to end up. So hopefully that helped out. Hopefully me hitting the mic didn't make a huge noise there. And we'll see what happens. Remember, Fall Finals is this weekend, Friday through Sunday. Group play, 2 groups, 4 teams go. It's 2 teams with the top points in each of their groups. Hope you'll join us. Can't wait for it. Always love seeing my console bros coming to town. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this helps you out a little bit. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because we got a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline in the future. And leave a comment down below if you think there's a team that I counted out that I shouldn't have, or a team you think I'm overvaluing. Always interested in what you guys think at home about where these teams are going to end up. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.